Okay, so this is just a short podcast to discuss project and time management. So many employers ask for applicants with good time management skills. What does that even mean? So time management is the process of planning and exercising constant control of time spent on specific activities to decrease effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity. Mostly what the employers want is people who can finish projects on time and people who use their time efficiently. And the various techniques for doing that, which we're not really going to discuss today. We're going to discuss one aspect. And this happens in all kinds of jobs. This discussion down here at the bottom by a busy professor. He was head of department and he's trying to prioritize his time working on various tasks, like if a student emails him when to reply, and he's doing various management things, and he has to organize his times to be efficient, and he also wants to have a work-life balance. What we're going to mostly focus in this podcast is look at something called project management, which is sort of a small subset of time management. So what is project management? So it's the application of processes, methods, skills to achieve specific project objectives. And then the project has some kind of acceptance. So it could be, well, for example, if you're a student, a project would be working on a coursework, and the acceptance is getting a good grade. If you work in an industry, a project could be doing some statistical analysis, and the final objective is that it gives some insight to the management. We could be writing some software, so that's sort of what a project is. And the kind of project management is just organizing all the time and the way the projects run. A key issue in the project management is designing the schedule. So usually a project can be broken down into different tasks. So there could be some initial tasks of doing some background reading and then designing a plan. And so a big project can be broken down into subtasks. And then there's a kind of subtasks. Some subtasks can only start when other subtasks are completed. Like if you're doing some background reading, you can't really do anything until you've done that. Some subtasks can be done at the same time as other subtasks. So if somebody's doing statistical analysis of one set of data and there's another data set, then one group of people can be analyzing one data set and the other group can be analyzing another data set, and those two tasks can be done at the same time. And obviously, if you're doing a coursework, say, and it's made of 4 questions that are independent, it's a group coursework, then individual students can work on the different questions at the same time, and then at the end you'll have to kind of come together and combine the results into the submission. And in the software industry, so if you're writing software, the software obviously cannot be tested until some software is written. So in this case, there's a task, and the task of software testing can't be started until the task is written. Okay, so this is all done in words. How do we visualize this in a nice way? And one way of doing this is called a Gantt chart. So here we have a little task down at the bottom here. Here's a Gantt chart. And there's tasks, planning, research, design, implementation, and follow-up. And then the little line here tells you when the task is meant to run. And you can see that the planning is going to run from mid-January to mid-March. Research is going to run from sort of 20% into February to midway through March. And then you get a little timeline saying when your tasks are running. And the way this works, so some of the task notes, like I said before, can overlap, like planning and research overlap and design overlap, because you can design, then do more research, and also do planning. But really, the implementation really only starts once the planning's done, and then the follow-up at the end. So it's just a visual way of describing the breakdown of a project into individual tasks. It's dates at the top. And so my advice to these things, it doesn't have to be too detailed. A lot of these planning can be broken into subtasks. So really it's just a sort of global view of the different tasks in the project, little subtasks. And these things are known as Gantt charts. So it's just a nice way to visualize the different parts of the project. Okay, there are many options to create Gantt charts. Obviously Excel can create them. There's information there. Lucid Charts is a sort of online system for creating many different types of diagrams. So you can, I've created a Gantt chart using that. There's actually much more sophisticated things like Microsoft Project, which is a big piece of software to do management of a big project. It'll also do Gantt charts, but it's very sophisticated. And if you're only doing Gantt charts, occasionally, it's probably more sophisticated than you need. And then there are many, many more options to draw these little diagrams. These Gantt charts, like we had here, we're showing the tasks and the time taken on the thing. Okay, so one of the things we had on the Gantt chart, we have an estimate of how long the task is going to take. So where do these estimates come? How do you know that it's going to take well, in our previous example, essentially took 2 months to do the planning. Where does 2 months come from? Often time estimates for sub-projects can be just guessed. You're just guessing that that's reasonable. In kind of an ideal world, if you're working in a kind of high-performing team, you should keep records of what projects you've done, and then you'll sort of see, well, to do this time project it took us 2 weeks, and another part of the project took us 3 weeks, and then you get some kind of data on how long individual parts of the project will take, and then you can use that to make more realistic time estimates for sub-projects. The sad fact is the total time for a project is often set by management or the marketing department. The marketing department, they talk to a customer and they might say, the customer wants this in 6 months, and the people doing the project may not get much influence on how long it takes. Ideally, the management of the marketing department should talk to the people doing the work to get a realistic estimate of how long the project will take. And obviously, if university, the amount of time to do a coursework is set by the staff member. If the project takes longer to complete than expected, then the project is overrun. And if you're in the industry, the management tends to be unhappy. When the time management goes really badly, there's something from software, and this means when somebody's set a schedule that's just too ambitious, the project can be known as a death march project, and this essentially means that nobody really thinks the project's going to get done in the given amount of time it's given. So that's usually bad. Okay, so that's just a little insight into the very basics of project management and the kind of importance of Gantt charts to visualize these things.